All right, let's just go ahead and demystify articulation right out of the gate. We're going to strip away all the intimidation and reveal it for what it really is, a completely trainable physical skill. Today, we're diving into this explainer, drawing from a seriously fascinating source called the Articulate Mind, a guide to clear and confident speech. You know, most people think being a great speaker is some kind of magic talent you're just born with. But the truth is, whether you're trying to nail a high-stakes job interview, pitch a brilliant idea, or honestly, just have your partner completely understand where you're coming from, articulation is just a mechanical skill. We're going to treat your voice like a physical machine today, take it apart piece by piece, and show you exactly how to build a clear, confident voice.
Here's a quick preview of our roadmap for today. 1. The articulation myth. 2. The physical machinery. 3. Glitches, speed, and silence. 4. Structuring clear thoughts. And finally, 5. The daily practice. Let's get right into it.
Kicking things off with Section 1, the articulation myth.
Think about it like this. Speaking isn't about just violently throwing a cup of water at someone, right? It's about walking it over calmly and placing it directly into their hands. The big myth here is that being articulate means memorizing 50 new vocabulary words a week and walking around sounding like a human dictionary. But look, if you use massive words and still mumble, rush your sentences, and lose your train of thought, you aren't articulate. You're just really hard to understand. The reality is all about handing your idea completely intact to another person's mind without any of that static. You don't need a theatrical flair. You don't even need absolutely perfect grammar. You just need clarity, structure, and precision.
Moving right along to Section 2, the physical machinery.
Okay, I want you to actually test this machinery out with me right now. Seriously, make a long humming sound. Do you feel that distinct buzz in your throat? That buzz is step 2, your vocal folds vibrating to create pitch. But let's zoom out and look at the whole sequence. Every single sound you make starts with step 1, breath, pushed up by your diaphragm. Step 2 is that vibration in your larynx. Step 3 is resonance, where your throat and mouth act a lot like the wooden body of a guitar, amplifying the sound. And finally, step 4 is shaping. This is where your articulators, so your tongue, lips, teeth, and jaw, execute this incredibly fast split-second dance to form exact consonants and vowels. Honestly, if you're mumbling, it's usually just because step 4 is getting a little lazy and your tongue is missing its target.
Let's try another quick test. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. When you breathe in, if your belly moves, you are correctly fueling your speech and, as a bonus, actively calming your fight or flight response. The source material points out something wild. We are all actually born breathing perfectly from our bellies. Literally just watch a sleeping baby sometime. But as adults, stress, sitting at desks, bad posture, it turns us into chest breathers. And chest breathing physically constricts your voice box, it makes you run out of air mid-sentence, and it literally signals your brain to feel anxious. Diaphragmatic breathing, that is your absolute secret weapon. It kicks your parasympathetic nervous system into gear, relaxes your body, and gives you that strong, steady airflow you need for true vocal authority.
So let's look at Section 3, glitches, speed, and silence. Get this. Here is a wild reality of everyday conversation. Up to 20% of the words in everyday speech are actually fillers. We're talking about like, you know? Think about that for a second. 1 in 5 words. So if you use fillers, you are not uniquely bad at speaking. Statistically speaking, you are extremely normal. Even brilliant, highly trained professors use them constantly, especially when they're unpacking really abstract, complex concepts on the fly.
But here is the fascinating secret about this. These fillers, they aren't failures. Linguists actually view them as traffic signals. When you say, you're subconsciously telling your listener, hey, I'm not finished yet, please don't interrupt me, I'm just searching for the exact right word. And research shows that tiny little delay actually helps your listener's brain recognize the very next word you say. But, and this is a big but, there's a catch. While an occasional filler is totally fine, excessive fillers, specifically anything over 1.3% of your total words in a formal setting, will actually trigger a subtle threat response in your listener's amygdala. It subconsciously makes you seem less credible. So it's definitely a habit we want to manage. So, what's the speed limit here? The ideal pace for the human brain to comfortably process information is right around 150 words per minute. But when you stand up to give a presentation, adrenaline absolutely floods your system. You might feel in your head like you're speaking at a totally normal pace, but you are almost certainly rushing. By deliberately training yourself to speak just 10% slower than your normal baseline, you perfectly offset that adrenaline spike and hit the sweet spot.
Which brings us to a total game changer. The power of the pause.
A lot of us treat silence like it's a failure, like we messed up. But trading a nervous for a confident block of silence gives your listener's brain the necessary white space to actually absorb your brilliant ideas. Think about it. If you cram a page edge to edge with text, no margins, it is exhausting to read. Spoken language is exactly the same way. When you drop a deliberate 2 to 3 second pause after a major point, you are not freezing. You're giving your audience's working memory a critical chance to catch up and file away what you just said. Honestly, silence is the most powerful, underused tool in your entire vocal toolkit.
Pivoting now to Section 4, Structuring Clear Thoughts.
Okay, we've all been there. You get put on the spot and your brain just kind of short circuits, trying to figure out what to say and how to organize it at the exact same time. Well, the prep framework is your safety net. You basically reverse the typical detective novel structure. Don't slowly build up to your conclusion, lead with it. Make your point immediately. Then give the reason why you think that. Share a concrete, real-world example to ground it in reality, and then just wrap up by confidently restating your point. It's incredibly respectful of your audience's time, and it makes you sound instantly authoritative and put together.
Have you ever wondered why incredibly smart, highly educated experts are sometimes the absolute worst at explaining things? They default to all this confusing jargon and leave their audience completely in the dark. It turns out, deep expertise can actually make you a worse explainer. Psychologists call this the curse of knowledge. Think about when you first learned to ride a bike. You had to think about every micro movement, but years later, your brain compresses all of that into a single automatic motion. You completely forget the stepping stones a beginner desperately needs. If you're relying on insider terminology to explain your day-to-day work, you are definitely suffering from this curse. To break that curse, we use something called the Feynman technique. It completely proves that simplifying an idea isn't dumbing it down. It is actually the ultimate marker of true expertise. It's named after the brilliant physicist Richard Feynman, and it forces you to strip away all the jargon. Try to explain your complex topic as if you were talking to a child. Where you stumble, where you reach for some industry acronym, that is exactly where your own understanding is actually a bit thin. You go back, fill that gap, and find a clear, real-world analogy. True experts don't need to sound impressively complicated. Their only goal is simply to be understood. And finally, bringing it all home with Section 5, the daily practice.
You do not need a grueling 4-hour boot camp to get better at this. A simple 10 to 15-minute daily roadmap is literally all it takes to build the muscle memory required for exceptional articulation. You just need daily reps. Center your breathing for a couple minutes. Warm up those vocal folds with some hums and lip trills, and yeah, make that classic motorboat sound with your lips. It actually works. Run through a few tongue twisters like Peter Piper to sharpen up your articulators. Spend a few minutes reading some high-quality nonfiction out loud to build your active vocabulary. And then finally, pull out your phone, hit record, and do a 1-minute prep speech on a totally random topic. This tiny compounding daily habit will completely transform how you sound over time. Because articulation is literally just a mechanical skill, and not some magic, elusive talent you have to be born with. The only question left to answer is how you're going to use this incredible new tool. Your lungs, your throat, your tongue, your lips, they have been waiting your entire life for you to use them with deliberate intention. And now you have the blueprint. So the very next time you step into a meeting or onto a stage or just into a deep conversation, take one deep belly breath, embrace the sheer power of a confident pause, and ask yourself, what will your voice build today?